welcome to the Start Thinking Forward morning show. I am Brandon L. Draper, your host for this morning show on this beautiful, magnificent, outstanding Tuesday. I need you to wake up. First and foremost, I need you to stop what you're doing. All right. I need you to take a moment just to reflect on some of the things. If you've been following this podcast, every single morning, we drop nuggets of inspiration. But at the same time, it's just not about inspiration. It's just not about motivation, because a lot of that stuff is fluff, because you can have the right mindset, but if you're not taking the appropriate action, nothing truly ever happens. And anyone that tells you that it will happen just because you're thinking that it will happen is absolutely lying to you, right? And I'm not going to stand on this platform because this is my platform. This is what I do every waking moment of my life, and I will continue to do that until I no longer draw breath. So, what I want to talk about this morning is if you're thinking about being in business for yourself or just life in general, there are certain things that you must be willing to do in order to have the success, and whatever that success means to you, because there's a lot of different definition of success. My definition for success, I don't put it on materialistic things. I just say definition of success is when preparation meets opportunity, right? You prepare for certain things, whatever it is that you want in your life. It may look completely different, opposite of what I want or what I desire or what I see as success. So, that's when you got to define what is success for you, right? Success might be a house, certain square footage, a certain type of car, money in the bank. That might be your success, and someone else success may totally be different. It may have nothing to do with any materialistic things. It might be inner peace. It may be knowing that they're helping people, that they get some type of pleasure. They have some type of motives that may be slightly different, or should I say motivation that is slightly different than yours. So it's not a comparison match. It's just a matter of you finding out what exactly success is to you, and then diving deep into that and figuring out what course of action is going to be needed in order to do that. So I see a lot of backwardsness, like there's backwards entrepreneurs and there's backwards people in their life where they want to move forward, but they constantly do things that bring them back, right? And when they bring them back, what they find is a sense of lack, right? Whether that's their financial lack, emotional lack, whatever lack that they're having, is because they're always moving forward. So instead of moving backwards, should I say, instead of moving forward so that they can fill that void and get some of that lack out of their life and start really being able to enjoy the things that they want to see, taking those dreams and really becoming to reality and bringing them to fruition, that's hard when you're kind of doing everything in reverse, right? I talked about it on Monday where we talked about shortcuts. People want to take shortcuts or long cuts. They try to, somehow beat the system and somehow get ahead. It always tastes a lot better when you create something yourself and you build something. It doesn't feel as good when someone just hands you something. You don't put as much pride in stock, and it's much easier to lose things that people just give to you. I love working and developing something for it to be great. And then when I reflect back on it, I look at all the hard times and what it took to get there. And I know for a fact it can never be questioned because I did it, right? You did it, whatever that is, you did it. It can't be up for a question because you are self-made. And now think about this for a second. I want to share this with you, right? The saying goes that we are all self-made, but only the successful will admit to it. What exactly does that mean? Let's break that down. It says we all are self-made, but only the successful will admit to it. Think about it. When all hell is busting open in your life, no one wants to say, man, this is happening because of me. This is happening because of decisions I made. This is why this is happening, right? No one wants to admit to that when things are not going in the right course, right? Things are not happening the way that they want it to happen. They're not seeing things the way that they want to see it. They don't want to admit that really it boils down to them. They've made those decisions. We've made those decisions that have us where we're at in our life. So if we're looking right now, it's getting ready to be 2020, and we start reflecting back at the last 10 years. Now, it's for a fact, we all know that who we are today and who we were 10 years ago is two different people. At least for the most part, if you had some type of growth in your life, you should be kind of looking at, there's maturity, some other things happen. You're kind of looking at a different person. Some things have evolved in your life for the most part, right? The question then comes in, what is the next 10 years going to look like? And all that's dependent on what you're doing right now. That's how you control anything in your life. You control things through the now, because this is where we live. This is the present. This is where you can actually make decisions that can ultimately impact your future, but you have to prepare. You can't start going in reverse, right? Because if you start going in reverse, you're not moving forward. You keep moving backwards. There's no progress, right? And I see so many people that consistently always operating in reverse, right? Even if you throw the car in reverse, it doesn't go as fast as it does going forward, right? You can get it up to a high rate of speed, but a car's not built to go in reverse at high rate of speed, right? Think about that for a second. When you put it, you can go fast, but it's not as fast as putting it in driving forward. There's a reason for that. You shouldn't be driving extremely fast going backwards, right? You're in a vehicle that's not designed for you to drive backwards. It's designed for you to move forward. Life is designed for you to move forward. So when you start living in your past and you start trying to keep throwing that thing in reverse and looking back more in your rear view and your side view mirrors, more than you're looking at the windshield, looking at what's in front of you, that's when disaster comes. So there's a level of preparation that's needed in order to do it. So there's nothing you can't do. And we hear it all the time. But as we get older and we become adults, we start to stop believing that. Because life is beating us up to a pulp that we tell it to children, but when we tell it to children, we don't even believe it. Because we know. So, then as the children get older, what do we tell them? You got to be realistic. That's our way of saying, well, you got to be realistic because life is going to kick your butt, right? And you're going to become unsure of things. So you got to be realistic lest you set your standards high. And then when you fall short of them, it's going to be devastating. And I went through that and I don't want you to go through that. So I'm going to tell you, be realistic, right? So that's the advice that we get from others, is be realistic. Even though we may have expectations of ourselves, my thing is, how do we throw the practicality in that? How do we be practical about high levels of expectations from ourselves? One way is I look at it and I'm just like, perpetuating this idea of probabilities and statistics. It's just that if you plan, let's just say, for instance, if and I'm just throwing an example out there, right? Let's just say, for example, you want to be an author, right? Or you want to be a world-renowned speaker. What can you do from a practical standpoint? Now, being a world-renowned speaker or being a best-selling author, these are some things that people strive to be, right? But it's not something that's necessarily easy to do. And for a lot of people, it may be impractical. It may be unrealistic to aim that high. My challenge is that it's not that unpractical and it's not unrealistic if there's certain things that you do. And that starts in the preparation phase. I don't care what you are, what you're doing in your life, what your job is, what your responsibility is. At the end of the day, you're an architect. You're an engineer. You're creating your life, right? You're narrating your life. So there has to be a master plan. Now, they may be, like I said, on some earlier conversations, they may be different course of actions to reach a certain set of results. But at the end of the day, there's one master, blueprint. There's one master copy of how you're going to build it. The question is, do you have that copy? Do you know what that is? So if you don't know what that is, that's when you got to go to the drawing board to figure it out. Because a lot of times where we lack and we go in reverse is because we really don't know what it is that we want. What is it? And I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter. Stop comparing yourself to other people, right? Because so-and-so did this or so-and-so wants this. That's their business. That's their journey. What is your journey from a practical standpoint? So if you want to be a best-selling author, you want to be a world-renowned speaker, what do you need to start doing? Well, first and foremost, you got to have a website. See, creating a website is an action, right? Once you have a website, what do you have to do? You have to market it. Here we go. That's another action, right? What are some other things you have to do to get yourself known? You got to start doing, maybe you have to do some public relations work, right? You have to do some public relations work to show what it is you do. You may have to have a one-pager that shows maybe some speaking engagements you've done, right? Well, Brandon, I haven't done anything. I get it. But what can you do? Right? To start building momentum. See, this thing's built on momentums because if you start moving in the direction you want to go, right, things start speeding up. And it's a lot easier to get attached to other things when you're moving, right? It's hard to attach to things when you're standing still and you're not moving. That's my challenge to you, is to stop standing still, right? Start making some conscious efforts on how you're going to move forward, how you're going to keep thinking forward. And it boils down to probability and statistics. So what seems unrealistic to some because they haven't prepared, they have not made a plan, and then they start prepping for how they're going to carry it out. That's what leads to success, right? It's not just getting positive. And we talk about the law of attraction and say, well, just because I think it, right? That's a part of it because you got to put those positive vibrations out there. I get that part. But the part that's lacking is when we don't apply action to it. We don't put a plan in motion on how that's going to happen. And then when things don't turn out the way we want them, oh man, our dreams are shattered because the people around us, well, I told you it wasn't going to work, right? And you know what you start saying? Yeah, maybe they were right. Or maybe they were wrong, but because you did not do the footwork, you got to be willing to put in the work, right? It's like someone knocking on your door, right? You look out the peephole, or nowadays you look out of your what is it? The doorbell system, the electric doorbell, your Ring. You look out your Ring system, right? And you see it's a friend of yours, right? Dressed in overalls. They're dirty. They're muddy. They look like they stink, right? And you're like, man, I don't feel like doing no work today. That joker want to call me out there to help him work on his car. He wants me to, help him clean those gutters out. I don't feel like that mess today, right? But you don't know what opportunity you're missing because there's work required. But then knock at the door. You see a friend out there and he got sunglasses on. He got like a beach shirt on. And he's telling you, hey, man, wake up, wake up, wake up. Let's go to the beach today and let's chill out. Let's kick back. See, in life, there's always opportunities for us to do something to change our life. And then there's opportunities just to BS and push things off and procrastinate, right? We go towards, a lot of us, we kind of lean towards procrastinating because it feels a little better, right? I don't want to fail now. It's okay if I fail later because I don't feel failing later. I don't feel it now. See, if I do something now and I put work in it now and it doesn't work the way I want to, I feel that pain now. So we've gotten into society where people don't want to do things because they don't want to feel anything. We're numb. We don't want to have interactions with people. As much as we want to believe that our society is social and everything, you think about some of the tools and stuff that we use. We use rideshare services that we really don't have to talk to them. You can push a button in the rideshare and say, I don't even want to talk to you. I get in the vehicle, I tell you how I want the AC and what I want to be playing on the radio. You drop me off, and that's it. That's where we at. So as much as we think we're social, sometimes we're very antisocial, right? We're not as close as we think. Right. So there's different levels of this. And my thing is always, I'm going to keep, perpetuating this idea is that you can do anything you put your mind to. Pause. But, right, There's certain things you got to do in order for that to happen. And it moves past just thinking positive. It moves past just reading books. It moves past just going to seminars and letting somebody hype you up only for you to return back to hell and come to the realization that you haven't done nothing to get yourself out of that situation other than go to the next conference or go to this and go to that. Now, check this out. I'm dropping jewels today, but the right person's going to hear this and the wrong person is not. This is not about beating nobody up and saying you don't have it. It's not about that. It's saying, hey, that crap to the left is telling you just be positive, it's all going to work out. That's garbage, right? That doesn't work that way, right? You got to be willing to put forth the action and work that's required. And for those who's not willing to put in the effort and work that's required, it's okay. You need to go get your resume tight. Get it tight, right? There's nothing wrong. Entrepreneurship, being in business is not for everybody. And I'm not saying that to deter you away from it, because if you're not willing to do certain things, the only thing you're doing is setting yourself up for failure. And I don't want you to be met with failure for no sound reason. If you're really not serious about doing it, why go through the pain and suffering that's required, that's needed in order to come on the other end of success, if all you want to do is make money and move forward whatever idea you have? Then that may not be what you need to do, and that's okay. There's a lot of people that want to be entrepreneurs, that want to be business owners and work for themselves. I get it, but not everyone is going to be able to do it if they don't do what's required. It's like an assignment. In order for you to pass this class, there's certain assignments you're going to have to do, right? There's certain homework you're going to have to do. There's certain research you're going to have to do. And if you're not willing to do that, if you're taking an online class, there's discussion boards, there's things you got to apply to, you got to talk to, you got to respond to 2 students, plus you got to put an original thread up, right? Talking about that particular subject. If you don't do that, how can you ever matriculate through the class? How can you ever get through it? You can't get through it because you're not doing it, right? You got to be willing to do it. You got to be willing to put in the time, effort, energy, and resources to be able to reach to that next level where now you can start scaling your life or scaling your business, because these things run parallel with each other. I'm not just talking about business here. I'm talking about life. Right? There's certain things you got to be willing to do in order to, reap the benefits. No one cares. That this world doesn't care if you don't plant the seeds, right? You just won't have a harvest. So when everyone else is gathering their harvest and they're eating, you're the one going to their farm asking, can I get something to eat? Can I borrow this? Can I do that? Because you did not prepare for a harvest because you never planted the seeds. Hey guys, this is Brandon L. Draper with the Start Thinking Forward Morning Podcast. Please reach out to us by following us at The Real Motivational King. Also visit us online at www.pinnaclepointpublishing.com. You can also reach us toll free at 1-866-222-3940. Hey guys, also if you like this message or any other message that we have, videos, podcast, and you really want to be a part of our community, and like I said, to really be able to get part of that locker room session where I dive deep and I show you how I created a business all the way from the ground floor. And when I say ground floor, meaning nothing. So don't make the excuse and say you got to have money to make it happen. When you lack the resources, get resourceful, and you wouldn't even imagine some of the things you'd be able to do in business through conversations, through negotiations, and what have you. So if you really want to support our movement and really want to be a part of our community, please go to patreon.com/Creators Inner Circle. Support our movement so we can continue to support you. Hey guys, remember, it's never too late to start thinking forward. Hey guys, until next time, bye-bye.